Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Dusty here, as always, joined today by Kody and Sam from the Your Local. I messed that up. Let's just do it again. How about we just do it again? I was looking at the wrong screen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. I'm joined today by Kody and Sam from the. I screwed it up again. That's the first time I have done that in a long time.
It was so good too up until that point.
I'm getting the channel name. I'm screwing up. I don't know what my problem is. It's Your Local Senders. I don't know why I want to say something else. Anyways, all right, here we go. I try to literally do this without any takes, so I apologize.
It's all good, buddy.
All right, guys, here we go. Your Local Senders. There we go. Hello, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Dusty here, as always, joined today by Kody and Sam from the Your Local Senders YouTube channel, where they love sending, breaking, and fixing anything with wheels. They just started filming it and decided to create a YouTube channel around it. Sam, Kody, how are you doing today?
Good, buddy.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm excited to dive into the origin story, first and foremost, of the Your Local Senders YouTube channel. So, Sam, we will toss it over to you. How did this whole thing get started?
Well, I mean, we kind of realistically take you back to the beginning was with Stunt 902, as you can see on our hat. So just a kind of collective group of friends, and we're all into the street bike freestyle stunting sport. And just over the years, we've kind of grown from that to kind of dirt bikes, off-road, stunting still. So we just, everybody pretty much for the last few years has always kind of been like, do you guys have a YouTube channel? Where can we watch your footage or see what you guys do? So we've always kind of, like most people, it's, oh, I should start a YouTube channel. And for me, it was more so like everybody can say that, but then it's putting it into real life and seeing how much is involved in terms of editing and the actual amount of time that you have to set aside for it. So me and Kody just would have been last Christmas, both of us were in a situation and we were like, man, we got to start a YouTube channel. And for us, the biggest thing is because everything that we watch, it's stuff that we do. So, I mean, if we're following 6, 7 different channels in terms of off-roading, fabrication, stunting, like it's what we do. So we figured we're kind of in a situation where we really feel like we have something that, a lot of people are into. We're into it. And, Kody's a wizard with the editing. So that's the biggest thing. And we just found that, it was the best kind of situation for us was to really go hard at it. And we're having a great time so far. And, it's just more so coming up with content, I guess, which is probably the biggest case with most YouTube channels. But for us, it's just our every weekend. So we're either out stunt riding, ripping the side-by-sides, or we're on our dirt bikes, or we're doing overland adventures or stunt shows. So for us, we have the content. It's just a matter of putting it out there for everybody to see and to follow and be a part of. So.
And you talked about Kody being a wizard with the editing. What type of experience did either of you have, or both of you have, prior to starting the Your Local Senders YouTube channel? Kody, I'll start with you.
Well, I guess it started, actually quite a while ago, probably 10 years ago. I got a nice cheap GoPro and I was really into like airsofting and snowboarding and bike riding and stuff like that. So I just strapped a GoPro on and I just started shooting videos. I dove into Adobe Premiere, which is a commonly used one, thankfully, because it was just happened to be the one that I had access to at the time. And I just started learning, and my videos, they got better and better and better. And then I slowly took a cinematic kind of approach to my video editing. And then when Sam approached and said, dude, let's make a YouTube channel, I dialed back a little bit and I said, well, let's go into more raw filming. Let's get the GoPros out again. Let's put the DSLRs away. Let's just film with our iPhones and just straight up vlog and get the action shots and the B-roll shots and throw music in between it all. So I did have some experience going into it, but I honestly feel like I've learned so much more in the last year in terms of content creation and video editing than I've ever learned. And I think it's because we're more driven now that there is a YouTube channel, now that we're pushing consistency. There's just so much more motivation and there's a reason behind it. And it's no longer a hobby. It's become a passion and potentially a job, where we built this brand. And so far, we're just putting the foundation together, but I'm excited about it. Sam's excited about it. We're heavily motivated, and I've never felt that way about video editing before.
So I want to ask both of you this question. We'll start with you, Sam, and then go to Kody after that. What has been the biggest roadblock so far? Like the most difficult thing that you guys have tried to do, or maybe a failure that you've had when it comes to the YouTube channel and just producing consistent content?
I mean, realistically for me, it's getting in the mindset of just the relationship between you know, people that are subscribed, followers, getting the content out there, like the analytics side of it. I didn't come from anything with that side of the like social media and stuff. So for me, the biggest thing was to like stop basically stop putting our group, our channel in the same like act as if it's the same level as bigger channels. So you go on YouTube, you click the ones, the channels that you're subscribed to, you see millions of views, millions of subs, and then we go to our channel and it's lower because we're starting. So I had to get over that and be like, this is the ground step of getting into this, and we're doing it for the love of it and just filming kind of our lifestyle and just putting that to the back burner. Because for me, like I said, if I go on a channel and I see millions of subs and it's like, oh man, we're only at like almost 1,000, but they all started there. Channels all started at a couple hundred subscribers. So we're looking at other people's, not end goal, but like, the fruits of the labor and everything. And then looking back at our channel and seeing the lower number. So for me, that was the biggest thing. I had a small YouTube channel when I started Stunt 902. But just editing, I'm not an editor. We'd charge up the cameras, we'd charge up the SD cards, we'd get everything ready, and we'd go out and ride, and we wouldn't pull out one camera. So that's kind of for me, sitting back and seeing this side of it, like breaking down the analytics with Kody. It's a huge it's a huge curve to get around and figure out, but I'm starting to realize now that we gotta have to block out the numbers and just focus on like our content and make sure that we're engaged with our fans, we're engaged with people that enjoy our content. And that's kind of the biggest thing for me, is just getting used to the slow grind, I guess, right?
Yeah, the comparison trap is hard, where
It
you go
is.
on and you look at other people and you look at their channels and you say, man, why am I not getting those amounts of views, or why don't I have that many subscribers? And it's easy to get into the mode of comparing yourself to people who are in a different phase of their journey.
Exactly.
Even to take it beyond that, now that I've been doing this for a long time, I'll see YouTube creators who do the same kind of thing that I do, and they start after me and they surpass me. And I'm like, well, what's the point, right? So just staying in your lane and knowing what you do, and just know that you have a message and know that what you're doing is valuable. So the great answer, Sam. Kody, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's number one, is comparing to other channels. That's the first mistake that probably every YouTuber makes. And obviously going into it, I bet you every YouTuber makes this mistake too, is it just looks so easy when you're watching successful YouTubers doing their thing and just have all these followers. And it's just like, wow, I want that life. I want that life. But there's so much more on the back end that goes into it. Like in terms of, we sit in my basement, we design logos, we try to build a brand, we try to build something we believe in, and then showcase it for all of our followers. So that has been a roadblock in the past. Now I feel like at this point we did get over that, and we're really just engaged into what we're doing, like Sam was saying. And then of course, in the fall, I had a bike accident that really slowed things down for me. and it took away my physical ability to be a part of these videos. But then it also, and actually with that, I decided to try and spend more time editing the videos that we did have kind of ready to go, or that we had the footage of that we had filmed beforehand. And I spent so much time editing these videos thinking, oh, these are going to be the best videos, are going to get all these views, because we're not trying to complete this video in a week. I'm going to spend a month on this video. I'm going to spend 40 hours. I'm going to put this video out. And then the video flopped. So like, it just, there's a lot of realization that comes with it, how hard it really is and how frustrating it can be. And I do believe that you really just got to stay true to yourself. You need to make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. That's number one, or you're just going to burn out. And just really just stay true to yourself, stay true to your brand, and stay true to the message you're trying to portray.
Yeah, learning as you go is really what it is all about on YouTube.
Yep.
And the cool thing about YouTube is that you have so many resources available on YouTube in regards to growing on YouTube. And, just like anything, you can search for it, and you can consume hours and hours of content on how to get better at editing, or how to get better at SEO, or how to get better at whatever aspect you feel like you're struggling at. So thank you guys for sharing those with us. I feel like both of those were definitely relevant and can relate with a lot of people listening to the show. What has been the most surprising thing about being on YouTube? The thing that shocks you the most? And we'll start with you again, Sam.
I mean, for me, like the experiences so far was like we were in the middle of the woods for a run, and we had a fella and his son roll up on us, and they were just ballistic. They, we handed them some decals out of the side by side, and they were just like, "We watch all your stuff." And one of our, not our last video, but one of the last couple ones was a full rebuild on my 250 dirt bike. So we were actually out doing a run with that, and they were like, "Oh my God, we watched, you guys build that." And that was, we were in the middle of nowhere, and it was just a random guy and his kid rolled through, and they were like, "We love your guys' stuff." So for me, that personally, that's been the kind of the coolest thing so far, is just randomly in the middle of nowhere, you have a random person roll up and they love the content. And that's one thing that also really pushes us to keep putting the content out, is that you see the engagement more so with people, and then they can see the machine in real life or wherever we're at. So for me, that was probably the coolest thing so far.
Yeah, before you go, Kody, I had a guy. I graduated high school a long, long time ago. I don't know how old you guys are, but it's been a hot minute since I've been in high school. So I don't communicate with many of those people anymore. But I had a guy message me on Facebook, a guy that I hadn't heard from since high school, and his name was Alex. And he's a CEO of a big company now over in China, and he does a lot of kind of stuff with agriculture and whatever it may be. Well, COVID hit, and his company kind of put it on him to figure out how to live stream to everyone around the world for his company. And so he went to YouTube like most people did, and he found one of my videos, which was going really well at the time. And it was the main video showing people how to stream on YouTube. And he just messaged me. And he was like, "Man, I could have swore I recognized your voice. Do you do YouTube?" And he didn't know it. And just to hear the conversation and to reconnect with that person, YouTube allows so many things, in that he's across the world from me, and he's still connected to me and still able to get the value from what I created from here in my office back where we grew up. So it's really cool to have stories like that to tell. And so I agree completely, Sam. How about you, Kody?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is a community in itself, and similar to Sam, what really became real with me was when the community started engaging back with us and kind of resonating, what they saw and what they enjoyed. And it's funny because when you start YouTube, and the hardest thing is you're talking to a camera, and you just feel like, I'm talking to a piece of tech, and you don't know how to act, you don't know how to speak. I'm talking to a piece of tech. And then after we, 6 months in or so, and we started actually getting a community behind us, suddenly I wasn't talking to a camera anymore. I truly felt like I was speaking to an audience. And that was, I didn't expect that. That was definitely a new feeling for me, and it was very uplifting, very motivating, and it just drove us to keep going and keep pushing.
Yeah, I forget sometimes. I do a lot of DJing in my spare time and have since I was a teenager growing up. And so I've done a lot of public speaking. I've spoken in front of people a lot. And so as time has progressed, I've become more and more comfortable doing podcasting. We're almost 400 episodes into this show now. So talking to people has been something that progressively I've gotten more comfortable with. But I forgot how literally awkward it was when I first started looking at this camera and talking to you guys, and how awkward that is for people for people getting started, and especially for you guys, right? Like, you guys are gearheads, right? Like, you guys are bikers and outdoorsmen and people who do that. It's completely different from what you guys are doing, right? Like, in your world, like, I don't understand your world. I understand technology. That's my thing, right? So for you guys to come into this and do it yourself, it just lets people listening to this know that you can do it. It doesn't matter if you are, knitting, or if you're, remodeling cars or houses, or real estate agent. You can do it if you do a little bit of education, a little bit of learning on the go, and it can happen. Now, you guys have mentioned, both of you in this interview so far, about building a brand. You had Stunt 902, which is kind of turned or merged or kind of accompanied now the YouTube channel. So talk about building the brand and the plans to implement and utilize the YouTube channel to make money and build the brand for what you guys may turn into a full-time job at some point down the line.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I've been going at Stunt 902 pretty much since 2012. So for us, the biggest tie with that is it's a motorcycle stunt team. So it's bike events. We've reached out to like some monster truck events and some stuff like that. But in terms of what we actually do as a team, it's more so motorcycle events. So our following for that is very niche. It's like people that either know us from either local motorcycle rides, or they do motorcycle events. So, and with that being stunting kind of being dangerous, obviously we're not going to be able to do it forever.
It plateaus for sure.
It does. So for me, the biggest thing with the channel is like, it's kind of how could I word it? It's kind of like showcasing our everyday activities, which is in most cases when we do shows, and at the end, we have people come up and ask us questions, and they're always asking, like, do you do your own motor work? Do you fix your bikes? Like, what do you do aside from that? So I think for us, the biggest thing with the brand is like your local senders is it's more of a blanket in terms of like, so say for instance, you sell a stunt shirt to somebody, their friends are going to be like, oh, or maybe a random person sees them at the mall and says, oh, what do you stunt? It's harder conversation to be like, well, no, I just bought this shirt. But if you have like a local senders, like most people nowadays, sending things is kind of like a general term for just going hard with with motorized vehicles or extreme sports. So it's I think that it's more of a brand that we can push in terms of, if we ever did the big merch drops, it's something that can kind of blanket more of our viewers versus just a select group of motorcycle riders who happen to do wheelies, and that's it. Your local senders, anybody can wear that. In terms of a brand, if we're talking like pushing merch and going hard with that. So I think for that, it's kind of like it's a bigger blanket for more sports and for more people to kind of feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's someone out there, going hardcore into pickleball, they can wear that Your Local Senders t-shirt proudly, knowing that they're going to go hard at the net, right? So I love that. No, I love that mentality of building that brand, building what you're doing, and just not, you're niching down on the channel in that you're talking to people who are in the space that you guys are both in, but also the ability to monetize that. You're widening that net to where you can capture more clientele, per se. That's how you want to, refer to them as, with doing merch drops, which on YouTube, if you look at some of the bigger ones out there, some of the really big YouTube channels that do merch drops, I consume a lot of podcast content. I was listening to one not too long ago where there was a guy who was talking about, one of his biggest days on YouTube had nothing to do with ad revenue. They did a big merch drop and he made something like $10 million in one day. It was nutty. It was just nutty. So if you get people to trust you and you build that brand up, you could, really the numbers, it doesn't matter how many subscribers or viewers you have. You just got to have those nice bit of really bought in or, full scent audience. I love that. All right, Kody, this one's directed towards you. You are the wizard that handles all of the editing. Break it down for us. How do you do it? What are you using? And what are some of the tips that you can give for folks out there who are trying to be efficient? Because a lot of folks who listen to this podcast, they don't do YouTube full time. So they need some tips of how to get it done more efficiently.
So I have learned actually very recently, it's come more clearly to me. So when we started, not to dig back too much in the past, but when we started, we were trying for weekly uploads. Weekly uploads was so stressful. I didn't have my editing on par yet. We didn't have a style of filming on par. So my edits took twice as long or 3 times as long to achieve. And so we actually botched the whole weekly uploads and we said, let's just spend more time on our videos and really figuring out, how we want our style to be. So we botched that. And then naturally, probably around Christmas time this year, naturally weekly uploads just kind of became a thing again because I figured out, and Sam figured out too, like how to film during the day. Like if we spend a lot of time talking to the camera in between the action that we're doing and filming that as well, it became so easy to edit because all I do is I just drag every file over into Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use. I drag it all into the timeline, I chop it up, I merge it together, and it's a story. Like you're telling a story. You're not trying to make things up with little bits of footage from here, little bits of footage from there, a drone shot here, drone shot there. So what I'll do is I'll go in, I'll do my intro, or Sam will do an intro like when we're filming, and that's the first thing I bring in. That's easy. Sometimes I'll flash an action shot just before to try to engage the viewer because that can obviously help too. But then and then in between, what I'll do is the B-roll that we do capture, because we always try to film some B-roll. I'll go find a no copyright song on YouTube. I'll download it and I'll make a little cinematic kind of thing to kind of like break up all the talking. So that way you have a nice segment of talking, maybe a joke as a punchline, and then right into a B-roll section with a cool song, and it kind of makes you feel it. And then the song might fade out and go back into another talking section. Like I said, beginning on, we weren't really filming properly, so it was really hard to create that. It took a long time, but we're to a point now where when we're filming, we're just literally filming the day and telling the story, and it's become so easy to edit that now I can do a video. I upload every Sunday, and I can do a video in 2 or 3 nights after work and have a pretty good quality video because we're taking the time to film properly on the day of filming.
I love that. Good stuff. I'm not even going to dive into that. I feel like you did a great job of explaining everything there. Great job. Let's talk about now things that you wish you would have known. You've been doing this now for a while. Sam, we'll start with you. What is something now you look back, now that you've been doing this for a while and you're like, man, I wish we would have known this or done this sooner, because of the impact that it's had.
Well, for myself, like I'm a little bit older, so in terms of the whole social media push, for me, like I was more of a recluse when it came to social media. So for me, the biggest thing is like getting on Instagram, pushing the latest videos, interacting, trying to get into the algorithms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. Kody does more of the YouTube, but for me, and as well as like talking to the camera. So for me, that was the biggest thing was just kind of getting used to that side of it, I guess. But I kind of forget what you said there. Sorry.
No, that was a great. How about you, Kody? What do you think have been something that you wish you would have known sooner?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wish I would have known how hard it is. Not that that would have discouraged me from doing it. But like we had said earlier, a big reward with all the work, because anyone that's doing YouTube knows how much work it is just the feedback, like when you're actually connecting with people. And I didn't know that was going to happen going into it. I didn't expect that at all. And if I would have known that from the beginning, maybe it would have changed the way that we interacted with the camera, or because now we're selling a personality. Like, we're not, like Sam was saying, we're not selling, a talent or a stunt team. We're selling our personalities, and that's what we're providing for our viewers, is our personalities now, and everything in between, really. But I guess yeah, really, I guess I would wish I would have known how rewarding it is to connect with the viewers, because that makes it worth it. And even if our channel doesn't go anywhere, I can tell you right now, we're not going to stop, because it just feels so good. Even if it's only 800 people that are connecting with us, like, it feels so good that they're waiting for our next video, and waiting for our style of editing, or our personalities to come on camera.
I love that. What are pros and cons of having a YouTube channel with a partner, a person, whether
Uh,
you're a buddy or you're a friend? Or I've had husband and wife duos on this podcast. I've had brothers and sisters. I've had friends like what you guys are. What are the pros and cons?
Honestly, I think that it's a huge pro to have a partner. I'm in a Facebook group with some other local YouTubers, and they've all said it multiple. There's probably 10 or 12 of them in there, and they've all said it multiple times. They're like, I wish that I had a partner like Kody and Sam. Like, we just feed off each other. It's more entertaining to watch when you have multiple people. Like, we like bringing in good friends that are okay with being on camera, because having a third or a fourth person to interact with, I find, really helps. And it just takes that drab, kind of lonely feeling out of the video, and it makes it feel like a group. And we're feeding off of each other's energy, and I think that's really important when it comes to YouTube. Well, at least in our niche, in our style. Like, don't get me wrong, there's lots of great channels out there that are solo, and like, some don't even show their face or speak or anything, and they're great channels. But when in our niche, where we're selling our personality, and we're selling these activities that we partake in, and breaking our stuff and then rebuilding it and sharing all that, like, I think having a partner is crucial.
Yeah, I could not agree more. There are times when, I've got stuff going on. I've got two daughters, very young daughters, and I would love to have someone that I could bounce ideas off of. And, getting to the point that I'm at now, looking at people who are doing it jointly, like you guys, I know there are some things that, you mix business with pleasure. Sometimes you get a little bit of, there can be some kind of elbows rubbed the wrong way or whatever it may be. But you guys are kind of the model for doing that. So thank you for answering that question. In closing now, I just want to ask about like the future of the channel and what both of you think, like short term and long term. Where would you like to see it go, and what are some things you're implementing now to get there? And Sam, we'll start with you, and then Kody, you can close us out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we want to be, as far up there as we can, big sub numbers, big view numbers. But realistically, I think for me is like, and same with Kody, is we're kind of in this for the long haul. So depending on where that end is, we're both completely comfortable with where we're going with it. And I think that the short term, for us, I think right now is more so a push to get some outside support for the channel, in terms of like maybe companies that want to throw us some gear to test and stuff, because vlogging is great, but it'd be cool to do a lot more videos with like how-tos. These products are clearly tested by us, so the short term obviously is getting a little bit more support from industry companies that are into the hobbies that we are. And then long term, I mean, if this is something that we could do for a living, and make a good living at doing, then that's obviously going to be a plus. So that's what I think for the short and the long term would be for us, really.
Yeah, that's the dream, really. That's the dream. And currently, like, as you know, to get monetized, you're battling with watch time hours, and you're battling with subscriber numbers. Now, our subscriber numbers are pretty good. Our watch time hours aren't as good, and the reason for that is because we dove into YouTube Shorts coming up there. I think right around Christmas time we started, and we've doubled our subscribers since Christmas, just basically based off of Shorts. They do draw a different audience, so I
Yes.
feel like they're not spending as much time looking at our long form. So, in doing so, I realized that we can't just rely on 1,000 subscribers to become monetized. That's not the key at all. And you can't just focus on that audience. So we are using the shorts to gain subscribers, but I've decided that instead of making short long form videos, we started, really filling in our day of what we're doing, like with like maybe a 20-minute video instead of like a 6 or a 7-minute video, to try to bump up that watch time hours. So I guess short term, we really want to drive watch time hours. So we're going to be putting out longer content for you guys, which means more action-packed stuff, no doubt, and breaking more things. And then we're going to keep driving the shorts. Like I upload a short every day of the week, the work week. So 5 days a week, I upload a short, and then we usually spend the weekend filming for our next long form and filming some shorts for the following week. So that's kind of our motto right now in terms of growth and our short-term growth.
Well, Kody, Sam, thank you guys so much for agreeing to come on the Creator Sub podcast. This has been an awesome conversation. You guys, you can tell you got your head on straight. You guys are doing some really awesome things. Again, you can find them over on YouTube at the Your Local Senders channel over there. Guys, thanks again, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Dusty.